I'm watching the man I love count money that's probably paid for with blood, and he has no idea that my heart breaks a little more every time he smiles at someone else. Min-jun sits behind his massive desk in that perfect black suit, surrounded by men who'd kill for him without question, and all I can think about is how his eyes crinkle when he laughs, how he takes his coffee with exactly 2 sugars, how he's never once looked at me like I'm anything more than the waitress who brings him lunch every Tuesday. "The shipment from Seoul arrived clean," his lieutenant reports. "No customs issues, no missing inventory." "Good," Min-jun says, his voice carrying that authority that makes grown men nervous. "And the restaurant situation?" "Handled. The owner understands the new terms." I'm standing by the window, pretending to arrange the lunch I brought while actually memorizing every word of this conversation. It's become my routine over the past 6 months. Bring food, stay invisible, collect pieces of his world that he'll never willingly share with someone like me. Someone who's supposed to be nobody. "Lily," he says suddenly, and my heart does that stupid flutter thing it always does when he says my name. "Yes, Mr. Min? The usual spot tomorrow? Same time?" "Of course." He nods and goes back to his business discussion, dismissing me with the casual indifference of someone who's never wondered what I think about when I'm lying awake at 3 a.m. What I think about is him, always him. The way he looked 3 months ago when he thought nobody was watching and let his guard down for exactly 12 seconds. The way he touches his scar when he's thinking hard about something. The way he orders extra food, not because he's hungry, but because he noticed I get a lunch break at the same time and probably haven't eaten. He thinks he's being subtle about taking care of me. He has no idea I've been in love with him since the second week I started delivering to his office. "Same time tomorrow," I confirm, gathering up the empty containers. As I head for the door, I catch him in my peripheral vision. He's watching me leave, but not the way a man watches a woman he's interested in. More like the way someone checks to make sure a familiar routine is still in place. I'm not a person to him. I'm a Tuesday lunch delivery with legs. Walking through his building's marble lobby, I pass the same security guards who nod politely because I'm expected, not because I'm welcome. The same elevator operator who knows my face but not my name. The same world that reminds me every single day that Min-jun and I exist in completely different universes. But here's what none of them know. What he doesn't know. Yesterday, I overheard a conversation between his rivals. The Tanaka family is planning something big for next Tuesday. Same time I usually bring lunch. Same place where Min-jun always sits with his back to the window because he trusts his security to handle threats. They're going to kill him, and he has no idea it's coming. You know that feeling when you're invisible to the person who means everything to you? When you love someone so completely that their safety matters more than your own happiness? If you've ever watched the person you love from the shadows, knowing they'll never see you the way you see them, hit subscribe. Because sometimes loving someone means protecting them from dangers they can't see, even when they don't know you exist. 24 hours later, I'm standing in Min-jun's office with information that could save his life, and I can't find the words to tell him without confessing everything I've been hiding. "You're early today," he says, glancing up from paperwork. "And you look nervous. Everything all right?" Everything is absolutely not all right. The Tanaka family has positioned snipers in the building across the street. They know his routine, know he always sits by the window during our Tuesday meetings, know his security detail rotates at 2:30 p.m., leaving a 12-minute gap. They know because someone inside his organization told them. "Mr. Min," I start, then stop. How do you tell someone their life is in danger without explaining how you know? How do you admit you've been watching, listening, collecting information about his world because you're desperately in love with him? "Lily?" His voice is gentle, concerned. The same tone he uses when he asks if I've eaten lunch, like my well-being actually matters to him. I think I think someone might be planning to hurt you. He sets down his pen, gives me his full attention for maybe the first time since I've known him. What do you mean? Yesterday when I was leaving, I heard men talking in the stairwell. Korean men, but not your people. They mentioned your name, mentioned today's meeting. It's not technically a lie. I did hear them. I just didn't mention that I'd been following them for 3 blocks because I recognized them from surveillance photos I'd memorized from his office wall. What exactly did they say? Something about a window shot and 2:30. Minjun's expression changes completely. Gone is the polite distance, replaced by laser focus and something that looks almost like fear. Are you certain about the time? Yes. 2:30. They were very specific. He's already moving, pressing buttons on his desk, speaking rapid Korean into his phone. His entire body language has shifted from relaxed authority to lethal alertness. Lily, he says, hanging up the phone. I need you to leave. Right now. But, right now, go straight home. Don't stop anywhere. Don't talk to anyone about this conversation. What about you? I'll be fine. My people are handling it. But I can see the tension in his shoulders, the way his hand keeps drifting toward the gun I know he keeps in his desk drawer. He's scared, and Minjun is never scared. Promise me you'll be careful, I say, the words coming out more intense than I intended. He looks at me strangely, like he's seeing something he hadn't noticed before. Why does it matter to you? What I do, whether I'm careful? The question hangs in the air between us like a loaded weapon. Because how do I answer that? How do I explain that his safety matters more to me than my own life? That I'd rather die than watch something happen to him? Because you're a good man, I say finally, and good men are rare. Something flickers in his eyes. Surprise, maybe, or recognition. Lily. He starts to say something, then stops, shakes his head. Just go, please. As I walk toward the door, he calls my name one more time. Thank you for the warning, for caring enough to tell me. I turn back to look at him, memorizing his face because there's a chance this is the last time I'll see him alive. You don't have to thank me for caring about you, I say quietly. Some things don't require thanks. The look he gives me in that moment is different from any look I've ever gotten from him. Deeper, more curious, like he's trying to solve a puzzle he just noticed. But I'm already walking away, because staying would mean explaining that puzzle, and I'm not ready to tell him that I've been in love with him since the day we met. 2 hours later, I'm watching the news report about a failed assassination attempt on a prominent businessman, and my hands won't stop shaking. The anchor's voice is calm, professional, like she's reporting the weather instead of the fact that the man I love almost died today. 3 suspects were arrested after police thwarted what appears to be a coordinated sniper attack on a downtown office building. The intended target, who has not been publicly identified, was unharmed thanks to an anonymous tip received earlier today. Anonymous tip. That's what they're calling my desperate attempt to save Minjun's life. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. We need to talk. Same place as yesterday, 1 hour. MJ. My heart stops. He's never texted me before. Never contacted me outside of our scheduled lunch deliveries. The fact that he's reaching out now means everything has changed. I spend the entire subway ride trying to figure out what I'm going to say. How do I explain that I knew about the attack without admitting I've been essentially stalking his enemies? How do I look him in the eye knowing that I'm in love with him, and he still sees me as just the lunch girl? When I get to his building, everything's different. More security guards, metal detectors, men in suits with earpieces stationed at every corner. The attack failed, but it's changed the way his world operates. The elevator ride to his office feels endless. My reflection in the polished doors shows a girl trying to look calm while her entire world shifts on its axis. Minjun's office door is open. He's standing by the window. The same window where a sniper was supposed to end his life 3 hours ago. You saved my life today, he says without turning around. I just told you what I heard. No. He faces me and his expression is intense, searching. You did more than that. You knew details that a casual overheard conversation wouldn't include. Timing, positioning, specifics that someone would only know if they'd been paying very close attention. My mouth goes dry. I don't know what you mean. Lily. He steps closer, and I can smell his cologne, can see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. Who are you really? I'm nobody, just the girl who brings your lunch. Nobody doesn't risk their life to save mine. Nobody doesn't know the exact timing of a professional hit. Nobody doesn't look at me the way you're looking at me right now. How am I looking at you? Like it would kill you if something happened to me. The words hit like a physical blow because they're completely, devastatingly true. Mr. Min. Stop calling me that. My name is Min Jun. Use it. Min Jun, I whisper, and saying his name feels like confessing. Better. Now tell me the truth. All of it. I'm standing at a crossroads where every possible answer changes everything. I can keep lying, keep pretending I'm just a waitress who got lucky with the information. Or I can tell him that I've been in love with him for months and watching his world from the shadows because being near him is the only thing that makes me feel alive. The truth is complicated. I have time. You know that moment when keeping a secret becomes more dangerous than telling it? When the person you've been protecting from your feelings almost dies and hiding becomes impossible. If you've ever stood on the edge of confessing something that could destroy or save everything, hit subscribe, because sometimes the biggest risk isn't loving someone who doesn't love you back. It's loving someone enough to let them see who you really are. The truth is, I've been watching you for 6 months, and not because I'm some crazy stalker, but because I'm crazy about you. The words tumble out before I can stop them, and Min Jun's face goes completely still. I know things about your operation because I pay attention to everything that could hurt you. I know your enemies because I've made it my business to know them. I know about the Tanaka family's plans because I've been tracking their movements since I figured out they were targeting you. Why? Because I'm in love with you. The confession hangs in the air between us like a live wire. Because I've been in love with you since the second week I started bringing lunch, and watching over you became more important than breathing. Min Jun stares at me for what feels like forever. His expression is unreadable, dangerous in the way that makes other people back down. You've been surveilling my enemies for 6 months. Without training, without backup, without me knowing. Yes. Do you have any idea how reckless that is? How easily you could have been killed? Do you have any idea what it's like watching someone you love walk into danger every day and being powerless to help them? Something in his eyes shifts. You could have told me. Could have asked for protection, for resources. And said what? Hi, I'm the lunch delivery girl and I'm obsessively in love with you. Can I please have access to your criminal intelligence network? Despite everything, his mouth almost curves into a smile. That would have been direct. Min Jun, I know you don't see me the way I see you. I know I'm just the waitress who shows up on Tuesdays. But I couldn't let you die without knowing that someone loved you enough to... He moves so fast I don't see it coming. 1 second I'm mid-sentence, the next his hands are on my face and his mouth is on mine. The kiss is desperate, hungry, like he's been holding back for months and finally stopped fighting himself. When he pulls away, we're both breathing hard. You think you're invisible to me? His voice is rough, intense. You think I don't notice you? Lily, I changed my lunch schedule to Tuesdays because that's when you started coming. I order extra food because I noticed you never eat during your breaks. I sit by that window because it gives me the best view of you when you walk across the room. My heart stops. What? I've been watching you too, wondering who you really are, what you think about, whether you'd ever look at someone like me as anything more than a job. Someone like you? Someone dangerous, someone whose world could get you killed. Like today almost got you killed? Exactly like that. His thumbs stroke across my cheekbones, which is why this can't happen. What can't happen? This, us, whatever this is? The rejection hits like a physical blow. Because I'm not good enough for your world. Because you're too good for it. His voice breaks slightly. Because you deserve someone who can keep you safe, and everyone who gets close to me becomes a target. I'm already a target. The moment I started caring about you, I became a target. Then you understand why we can't... No, I understand why we have to. I step closer, close enough to see my reflection in his eyes. Min-jun, I've spent 6 months loving you from a distance, protecting you from shadows, being near you without being with you. Lily, if loving you is dangerous, then not loving you is torture. I'd rather face your enemies as your woman than face another day pretending I'm just your lunch delivery. He's quiet for a long moment, studying my face like he's memorizing it. If we do this, he says finally, everything changes. Your life, your safety, your future. There's no going back. There's already no going back. I crossed that line the day I fell in love with you. When he kisses me this time, it tastes like acceptance, like surrender, like the beginning of something that could save us both or destroy everything. 3 days later, I'm learning that dating a Korean mafia boss means never eating at the same restaurant twice and always sitting with your back to the wall. You're scanning exits again, Min-jun says, cutting into his steak with movements that are way too precise for someone who's supposed to be relaxed. I learned from the best. This isn't what I wanted for you. We're at some upscale place in Manhattan where the waiters cost more than my rent used to, and every person who walks past our table gets evaluated like a potential threat. Because that's what my life is now. Constant vigilance wrapped in expensive dinners and designer clothes that Min-jun insists on buying me. What did you want from me? I ask. Normal? Safe? A regular boyfriend who takes you to movies and worries about normal things like whether you like his friends? Do you have friends? I have associates who haven't tried to kill me yet. That's not the same thing. No, it's not. The conversation gets interrupted by his phone buzzing. He checks it, and his entire demeanor shifts. We need to leave, now. What's wrong? The Tanaka family knows about us. My blood turns to ice. How? Someone saw us together, took photos. He's already standing, tossing cash on the table. They're planning to use you as leverage. Use me how? The same way I'd use someone they cared about if I wanted to hurt them. We're moving through the restaurant now, Min-jun's hand on my lower back, guiding me toward what I'm guessing is not the main exit. His security detail appears from nowhere, forming a protective circle around us. Min-jun, I say as we slip through the kitchen toward a service door. What exactly does leverage mean? It means they kidnap you, hurt you, and send me pieces until I agree to their terms. The casual way he says it makes my stomach drop. Pieces? Fingers usually, sometimes ears. Jesus. Which is why this was a mistake, why I should have kept you at arm's length. We're in an alley now, heading toward a car I've never seen before. Everything about our evening just shifted from romantic dinner to military extraction. Is this my life now? I ask as we get in the back seat. Running, hiding, constantly looking over my shoulder. This is what it means to love someone like me. And what does it mean for you to love someone like me? He looks at me, and his expression is raw, vulnerable. It means every enemy I have now has a weapon they can use against me. It means the thing I care about most in the world is also my biggest weakness. So what do? We adapt. We get smarter. We make sure they understand that hurting you would be the last mistake they ever make. And if that's not enough, Minjun's hand finds mine in the dark car. Then we find out what I'm willing to do to keep you safe. The way he says it makes me realize something that should terrify me but doesn't. I'm not just dating a dangerous man. I'm becoming dangerous myself. You know that moment when love stops being about butterflies and starts being about survival? When choosing someone means accepting that your life will never be simple again? Hit subscribe if you've ever loved someone knowing it would change everything about who you are. Because sometimes the person worth fighting for is also the person worth becoming someone new for. 24 hours later, I'm standing in Minjun's office with a gun in my hand, and he's teaching me how to kill people who want to hurt us. Breath control, he says, his voice calm and instructional. Don't hold your breath when you shoot. Breathe normally, squeeze on the exhale. This feels insane. This feels necessary. The target at the other end of his private shooting range is a silhouette of a human figure, simple, clean, impersonal. But we both know that if I ever have to use this training, it won't be against paper. Again, Minjun says after I miss the center by 3 inches. I'm not a killer. Neither was I until I had to be. I adjust my stance, sight down the barrel, and fire. This time the bullet hits center mass. Better. But in a real situation you won't have time to think. It has to be instinct. How do you make murder instinct? You remember why you're fighting. He moves behind me, his hands covering mine on the gun, adjusting my grip. His breath is warm against my ear. The Tanaka family isn't going to stop, Lily. They know that hurting you is the fastest way to destroy me. Which means you have 2 choices. Learn to protect yourself, or let me lock you away somewhere safe until this is over. How long would that take? Could be months, could be years. And I'd just sit somewhere waiting for you to come back? You'd be alive. I lower the gun, turn to face him. That's not living. That's just surviving. Sometimes surviving is enough. Not for me, not anymore. Something in my voice makes him study my face more carefully. What are you saying? I'm saying I don't want to be your weakness. I want to be your partner. Lily. No, listen. For 6 months I watched you from the outside, gathering information, tracking threats, trying to protect you. I was good at it. You were reckless. I was effective. And now that I'm not hiding, now that I'm officially part of your world, I can be even more effective. What exactly are you suggesting? I'm suggesting you stop trying to protect me from your enemies and start letting me help you deal with them. The silence that follows is loaded with implications neither of us wants to say out loud. You understand what you're asking for? Minjun finally says. I'm asking to be your equal instead of your liability. Being my equal means doing things that change you, permanently. I'm already changed. The moment I fell in love with you, the old me started dying. And the new you is willing to kill for me? The question hangs in the air between us like a test. I think about the photos he showed me yesterday, the Tanaka family's previous messages to their enemies, what they do to people who stand in their way. I think about Minjun, this man who's somehow become my entire world, living with targets on his back every single day. I think about the choice between being someone who needs protection and being someone who provides it. Ask me again in a week, I tell him, raising the gun to aim at the target. This time, I don't miss. 6 weeks later, I'm standing over a man who tried to kill the person I love, and I don't feel guilty about what I'm about to do. His name is Kenji Tanaka, and he's bleeding from the gunshot wound I put in his shoulder 20 minutes ago. Not fatal, but enough to keep him from running while Min-jun's people cleaned up the rest of his crew. "You made a mistake coming after my woman," Min-jun tells him, his voice cold as winter. "Your woman is what makes you weak," Kenji spits back. "My woman is what makes me dangerous." He's right. 6 weeks of training, 6 weeks of learning to think like someone who solves problems with violence, 6 weeks of becoming someone the old me wouldn't recognize. The girl who used to serve coffee and dream about romance novels is gone. In her place is someone who can shoot a moving target at 50 yards and sleep peacefully afterward. "Lily," Min-jun says quietly, "your choice. This is my final test. Not just as his partner, but as someone who's chosen this life completely." Kenji orchestrated 3 attempts on Min-jun's life, kidnapped 2 of his people, and sent photos of what he planned to do to me if he ever got the chance. Some choices make themselves. I raise the gun, sight down the barrel like Min-jun taught me, and pull the trigger. The silence that follows feels like an ending and a beginning at the same time. "How do you feel?" Min-jun asks as his cleanup crew gets to work. "Like myself, finally." And it's true. For the first time since I fell in love with him, I'm not watching from the outside, not hiding what I'm capable of, not pretending to be someone smaller and safer. Any regrets? I think about the waitress who used to count tips and worry about rent. The girl who watched him from across the room and thought love meant staying invisible. I regret that it took so long, I say honestly. Min-jun pulls me close, his hands warm against my face. "I love who you've become. Even though I'm not the innocent girl you met?" "Because you're not. That girl was beautiful, but she was breakable. This woman?" He kisses me, deep and possessive. "This woman is my equal." Later, in his apartment that's now our apartment, I watch him sleep and realize something that should scare me but doesn't. I'm not the same person who fell in love with him. Love changed me, shaped me, turned me into someone who can survive in his world not as a protected princess, but as a queen who rules beside him. You know that moment when you realize love didn't just change your heart. It changed your soul? When becoming someone worthy of the person you love meant becoming someone your old self would fear? If you've ever transformed yourself completely for love and discovered you liked who you became better than who you were, hit subscribe. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing about falling in love isn't losing yourself. It's finding out who you really are when everything you thought you knew gets burned away. What did love make you become? Tell me in the comments, because we've all got that version of ourselves we never knew existed until someone made us brave enough to let her out.